Okay, my name is Ron Carrico, and I'm with the San Diego Air and Space Museum, and today we're interviewing Lieutenant Colonel, retired, Robert Friend, who flew in World War II and was one of the famed Tuskegee Airmen. The date today is July the 6th, 2015. And first of all, why don't you tell us your full name?
Robert Jones Friend.
And where were you born?
Columbia, South Carolina.
And
they went to New York, and that's where I spent the majority of my younger life.
So what part of New York?
We lived in the Bronx, and we lived in Manhattan, and my mother later lived Long Island.
What year were you born?
1920, according to my mother.
You don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I went to try to find it, and I found some conflict, and the conflict came about because my grandma.
When did you graduate from high school?
In 1939, 38.
And so you went to college.
Yes.
And where did you go?
I went to college in Pennsylvania. I went there, and that's where I took civilian pilot training.
Now, the civilian pilot training program was a government program.
Yes.
To train American pilots because they kind of knew a war was coming.
Well, Lindbergh and the other people who were doing round the world trips and so forth, when they came back, they said, those guys are over there getting ready for something because they're training people in gliders and everything else to be pilots.
So,
and there was that Italian guy, Italia Balboa.
Balboa, yeah.
And he flew an armada of amphibians from Italy to New York. And that's, I think, was to let us know, hey, we can get there.
Oh, wow, yeah. I didn't know that.
It's a message.
I know that name. He was one of the ideas.
Yeah, well, New York was the ideal place for him because, you see, the mayor of New York, LaGuardia, had been a pilot in the Italian Air Force.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, now, how did you find out about the CPT, the civilian pilot training?
Well, I can't say exactly how, but there were 5 of us at the school that went into the program. 4 of us ended up in the Air Force.
And the 5th one?
The 4 of us that were left. The 5th one, he couldn't pass physical, and I don't know how he got into the program in the first place because he had a huge spot here where he had been kicked in the head by a mule or something.
So were you all in college?
All in college.
And that what airplane did you fly at that time?
We flew Taylor Cubs and Pipers.
And how about do you remember how many?
Taylor Craft.
Right. And so the Piper would be the Cub, and then the Taylor Craft would be was it also called a Cub?
Yeah. Well, the Taylor Craft was side by side.
Oh, okay.
Okay, tandem in the Cub.
And so you did solo apparently?
Oh yeah, I have a license. I had a license, and it later upgraded to commercial. So I have a commercial license.
So now you're 18, 19 years old, and you have a civilian pilot's license.
Right.
And how many hours would you think you had at that time?
I'd flown somewhere around 24, 25 hours.
So,
I got my ticket from one of the barnstormers of the time. I had to go over to New Jersey to where he was, and we flew the airplane over there, and he took me up and checked me out and gave me a license.
Do you remember his name by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember his name?
Yes, I do, and I don't. Jones, Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
He was, at the time, he was one of the guys that was well known, and that's why the government used him as a guy to check people out for a license.
Wow.
The guy, my instructors couldn't do it. They could only.
So now here you are, 38 and 39.
Mm-hmm.
And then, were you approached by the Army Air Corps, or did you go to them and say you wanted to volunteer?
I tried to get in, and they didn't take me. But then later, and I was in Washington D.C. now, and then later they did take me, but they said, "We'll tell you in the report." So I'm in the military, but I'm not called to active duty. This is in '42, and I can remember my serial number 13082304.
Had you graduated from college then?
Oh, I was not. I was starting my third year. You had to have 2 years of college, initially to get into the military.
As a pilot?
Yes.
And so it was the same requirement for the people who eventually went to Tuskegee as for anybody else. You had to have 2 years of college.
Yeah. Well, the other fellows that were in the program with me were in their upper classes, and they finished. They had college graduates when they applied.
Really? There you go.
And I was not yet out of college, but I did have the 2 years over.
Oh, I know. I've talked to other pilots that had, World War II. They had to get that, and then later in the war they waived it.
Yeah. Well, they notified me and told me to report to Tuskegee after a bit. But I've been running around with this card in my hand, my pocket all the time, that indicated that I was in the military, had a serial number, but I was not on active duty.
So, as I recall, the first class of Tuskegee Airmen graduated in March of '41.
No, they graduated in '42.
Well, we have a sign
because the program lasted, from March. March, the class they were in, March C, 42C.
42C was the first class.
Yes. I can show you a picture.
In our museum, we have a group of pictures and models of the different airplanes that Tuskegee's flew. Pictures of General Davis and Chappie James and some other people, and then a large painting, which you've signed.
Yes.
You're in the painting there somewhere. I was trying to figure out which. I think where your signature is under one of the. Do you know? Do you remember where that was? Did you sign that in San Diego, or do you recall?
I signed that, I think, when the artist did it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great picture. Where was it supposed to be?
Well, there were several of them, and one of them was supposed to be representing the flight to Berlin. But,
really?
But that was much later in time, than the kind of people you're talking about. Most of them had flown tours and gone home, or there were some few there. Spanky Roberts was still there.
Yeah, here's the picture.
Okay, so
it's kind of dark.
That airplane is a I can't see the number on the airplane. If I could see the number, I could tell. Is that tab yellow or is white? It looks yellow.
It looks yellow to me.
Okay, that's the 302nd.
And it's a B model.
Yeah. Well, I don't care about the model of the airplane. That's early. By being a B model means it's early because we didn't have many B models.
Well, you didn't have B models when you were...
Let me look at it. I can look at the picture and tell you.
Yeah, I looked at it.
Is it a B?
I made it bigger. You can move it back and forth if you move your finger around
that's
like
why
this.
I want to see the tail. I want to see the tail of the airplane. Yep. Yeah, you're right. That's a B model. No dorsal.
Oh, that dorsal. Oh, that's a difference. It's not just the canopy.
That's one of the differences.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that? Well, we'll get to talking about airplanes in a minute, about specifically. I really want to know about that.
Another thing, too, is there's 4 guns instead of 6. So it's 2 on each side.
Did it have the same engine? Mm-hmm. Did it have the same Rolls-Royce Merlin engine?
The Rolls-Royce was starting to be in most of those. You can tell right away, though, because of the air intake, not the radiator, the air intake for the carburetor. If it's on the top, then it's the Allison. If it's on the bottom, it's a Rolls-Royce.
Wow.
Look right under the prop.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And is that you third from the left or fourth from the left?
No, that's Pruitt. And that's 302nd guys. That's Pruitt, that's Williams. Right here, Bob Williams. Yeah. Yeah, that's
so that's kind of a composite picture. It's not
yeah. Well, all those pilots, yeah, all those pilots are 302nd pilots.
They're all what?
All 302nd pilots, all from 302nd.
Okay. So it was just 332nd. 332nd was the group.
Had 4, yeah, and then four squadrons.
Okay.
When the 99th joined us in June of late June of 44.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's okay. So you go to basic training, and of course you're already a pilot. Now I was
already a pilot, but didn't make any difference. We're just like everybody else. Went through pre-flight, 2 months.
What airplane?
Pre-flight.
Pre-flight. Oh, just ground school.
Yeah.
Ground school. And then
we were getting, taking code and doing all those.
Could you ever figure out why I wanted to know Morse code? We did the same.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's like,
we had to be able to receive 12, send 10.
Yeah, you remember that better than I do. I just thought, what a waste of time this is.
And of course, then you also learn the alpha.
Where the what?
The alphabet.
Oh, the alphabet.
Yeah.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, right? So you're flying.
No, I didn't start June 42. I started the program actually in 43.
43.
Yeah, early 43.
So, but your class was, I thought you said 43A.
43K.
3K, okay, misunderstood. When did you graduate? What month?
December.
December, okay.
Last one. Last class.
Last class. The last...
Class of that month, year.
Of the year, right, yeah.
Yeah. And the course actually ran from 42C to 46C.
So, really?
4 years.
42C to 46C. Now, as I've heard you say on another interview, that it wasn't just all black pilots, it was also all races other than white. Is that pretty much correct?
That's what I said, and that's true. If you didn't say that you were white, they sent you to Tuskegee. So, we had Haitians and Indians and we one guy, Wilma Sadat Singh, and he was they're just across the board.
Yeah.
Jack Chen died about 4 years ago. He lived here in Pasadena, and a lot of differences.
Now, but with the other people though, when they went off onto active units, they went into wherever they were going to go. It didn't matter. But they kept the black pilots together.
Yes, correct. But don't forget that at the school, at Tuskegee. The way this thing worked was strange. Not strange, but understandable. When the very first class was being operated, they had no runways. They had no place for. They used a great big grass field.
Well, for small airplanes, it's not that big a deal, right?
So, and the school owned it, still there, but now it has runways.
Well, it was actually called. Was it called Moton Field? What was the name? Moton.
Yeah, he was the past president of the school.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yes.
Okay. And now some of the training was actually at the college, though, wasn't it?
The training was under the college. The school had tremendous amount of property. That's what the property that the air base actually ended up on.
So, which airplanes did you fly there?
PT-17. We flew that off of Moton Field, no runways, just big open grass.
And then after that,
when we got through that successfully, you went to basic, and now you were transferred to the base. We actually lived on the campus too.
Really?
Yes.
That was pretty nice, I guess.
Yes, it was better than after we got outside there. They still imposed because they had tactical officers. Some of them were black. Well, at least, I know there were 3 of them that were black.
Now.
Or not white.
Yeah. When you went to basic, though, now what did you fly in basic?
BT. What would you call it? Vultee Vibrator.
Vultee Vibrator, right? Yeah. It seems like a lot of people flew that thing.
The program was still under Tuskegee. It was under contract to the government. The school was under contract, and that's why all of the primary instructors were non-white.
Were they civilians?
Yes. Okay,
because they did that a lot. They used civilians to train a lot of pilots.
Sure. And they said, okay, school will give you a contract, and then they had a major who was the guy that monitors the contract activities. But he was Caucasian.
Do you remember what was the name of it? They always referred to us as Tuskegee Airmen. When did that wasn't a common term in those days, was it?
No.
That's more like
just called you a cadet.
Cadet, and then you got your gold bar when you graduated, I guess.
We graduated, yeah. Then we were later put into different squadrons, and these squadrons were generally training squadrons.
And still at Tuskegee.
Yes, but they were moving us though. They formed a squadron and moved it to Selfridge.
To Selfridge.
Yeah.
In the winter?
In the winter.
Oh, man.
It was cold.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. But we graduated in December.
Yeah, that's when you said that. I went, oh,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Selfridge is in Detroit.
Oh, cold. Cold up there. But it's all right.
But, so, when you went to Selfridge, I thought they trained the B-25 pilots up there.
They did. When we left, most of us, the fighter pilots, they were bringing the B-25 guys in there for a short while. I don't think they stayed very long before they started moving them south.
Now, how many guys were in your class in that class that graduated?
My class graduated with 31.
How many started?
About close to about twice that, almost.
That's typical.
Yeah.
My class was the same way.
Yeah.
About half didn't make it.
Yeah. I remember they eliminated some of them doing pre-flight.
Yeah, us too. Yeah,
We had reason, getting them down.
Yeah, I flew T-37s and T-38s, and we had guys eliminated in the last few weeks of T-38s. I think we started with 56 and ended up with 27 or 28. Classmates in college or college graduates at the time?
Oh, like all the other guys that were with me, I told you in the CPT, they were all ahead of me in school.
Were they all black?
And one of them's on this big picture over here because he was in the original 99.
No, that's what I...
Yes, yeah, they're all passed away.
Now, the 99s, was that the original group? Didn't it have 4 squadrons in the 99 squadron?
No. The 99th Squadron was formed first, and after training and so forth, went overseas as a group.
Now, what class?
I mean, as a group, as one organization. Went overseas as one organization, a squadron, and they were attached to Caucasian outfits. They were all together, lived together, flew together, and so forth.
Where at? What base?
Different ones, all as they moved from Africa through Sicily up to Italy.
So they were involved in the very
And
early
they were, for one time they were at Fosia.
Well, and I think his name was Alex Jefferson.
Yeah, he lived with me until he got shot down. Several Jeffersons. This Jefferson right here graduated in 44A.
So he was a little bit behind you then.
Yes.
P-47, did
Yes,
you fly?
I flew all of them. I flew the P-40, the P-39, the P-47, and the P-51. And then some things after that,
Yeah. Well, I remember one of the guys, maybe because the names I have is off the, I got Roscoe Brown, Charles McGee, George Reedy, and one of those guys said that they were flying sort of submarine patrols off of Sicily.
We did that. I did that. And sat alerts. You know.
But
in fact, I got fired off on one of the alerts. You know, got fired a flare. We just sitting in the airplane. Whoop, flare! Get in the air. Did they vector you?
Where?
From?
What was this, a Ramitelli?
This is this was all from a place called just north of Salerno, Montecavino.
So
we take off from Montecavino, and they vectored. And it turned out that what had happened is one of the balloons had broken loose over Naples, and it flew. And the guys got it on radar, got heads up, you know. So we had. So there were times you just go out there, you didn't do anything except sit in the damn airplane for 2 hours.
I've done that.
Go nowhere.
I've done that. Okay, so you go to Selfridge.
Yeah.
And what airplane were you flying at Selfridge?
P-39.
How did you like that airplane?
It was good for what they designed it for, but we weren't flying. We of course at that time were anticipating that we were going to do ground support, tactical activities, and so that's what we were practicing. Had that cannon.
Between your legs, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Right.
Yeah.
You put the first one in, pull the yarn, land it yourself.
What? Really?
Yeah. Just do that. Pull that thing out.
And then after.
And they won one model where the 250s also came in, stuck through, and fried through the prop.
How did you aim the cannon? It was a 37 millimeter.
Oh yeah, you aimed it just like same sight. Yeah, and just put it on there, and you fired it with the button and not with the trigger.
Oh really?
Yeah, the trigger fired the machine guns. The button fired the cannon.
So when you fired a cannon with just one shot?
No, you could continue.
Where'd the shells go?
Out.
Underneath or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
had a great big, and they were around like that. You know, you had something like around 30 of them.
Wow. Did the airplane slow down when you were firing that thing?
I could feel it.
Really? What kind of speed would you be using for strafe?
Generally, we're going down around 300.
10 to 15 degrees dive angle?
We tried to come low so they couldn't shoot at us from the ground beforehand,
Yeah.
and then pop and then down. But so it was.
When you flew so you went over to Europe in the P-39.
I went over in P-39.
How'd you get
and
there?
we came up through into the west coast of Italy.
The west coast of Italy.
See, we were all along the west coast. We had people in Naples, and we had people in Montecavino, and a lot of the squadrons, like the 301st, for instance, was isolated
So as I was reading
geographically.
so as the front was moving up through Italy, you moved north to
As
do
they
support.
started, we flew some of the missions, early missions. You know, when they were trying to get Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we flew some of the missions up through that way, especially to go those guys that were in Naples where they were closer.
So when did you actually get to Europe?
40. I graduated 44, just early 44.
Because I was reading, it said here that the P-39s were used from March of 44. So you must have been there right at the beginning.
I was.
Wow. So and then you went all the way, so you flew the P-39, P-47?
I flew the P-39, right? We lost people in the P-39 too, doing some of those submarine. Now, we couldn't do anything with the submarine. All we could do was see it.
Right.
From altitude, you can look down, you look right at the water, you can see the thing, and you call them in the Navy, take care of it.
But wasn't there an attack? Didn't they sink a ship, a destroyer?
Oh, yeah. That was with P-47. They got the movie, in the movie they showed P-51, but they were P-47s. Yeah.
We, in our museum, we show the movie Wings.
Yes.
No, Flyboys. We show Flyboys.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And because the videos are so good, I mean, it's really good. But, I asked the director one time, I said, why don't we show the Tuskegee Airman movie, Red Tails? He said, because there's so many things that are inaccurate about it. And that's something I want to get to in a minute.
Yeah, that one is absolutely wrong. And of course, the other one was, if that 262 still had fuel, you could not catch it.
Yeah. Well, Roscoe Brown says he shot one down.
Like I said, take my word for it. I know you, because I got involved with one, and I couldn't. I made the turn as fast as you could make the damn turn, because we were coming head first time, and when I got turned around, out of sight.
A little horizon job there, huh?
Yeah.
In your class, from when you graduated, did everybody go to fighters?
No. Half of them. 16 went to fighters, and 15 of them went to twin engine.
And now the twin engine guys never actually saw combat, though, did
They
they?
never got a chance to see combat in World War II. Brother-in-law, and he was in my class, and he was with that organization. That organization may have been in some kind of display or something, but they never got over. The real check was when I was in the group. At the end, I was the operations officer. When the loop was on its way to the Far East, that's where we were supposed to go. And I was busy teaching these guys all the differences of the airplanes, different tactics, what you can expect from Japanese pilots and so forth and so on, and what could happen if you lost. Got in the water, because there's a lot of water and all of that. So we're going through all of that, and they dropped the bomb. So now we didn't go that way. We went back to the States.
Where were you when they dropped?
We were in Italy. We were everything was over. We flew some flights that were designed to see whether or not there were some organizations that hadn't gotten the word and were still doing things.
Did that happen?
And consequently, we never found it. we flew the recon zone to look for it and see whether it was happening.
In the P-51?
P-51.
Yeah, I had I'm a lawyer and have been for a long time, and I had a client a long time ago. Unfortunately, he was kind of a drinker, but he flew P-38s, and when the war ended, he made a point of going to every base he could find and asking, "Hey, you want to trade rides? You can fly my airplane if I can fly your airplane." Yeah. So he said he flew everything. He flew the German airplanes. He flew everything.
Yep. Yep. Well, I've been over to the Italian Smackie. It's a nice airplane.
Really?
Yeah.
They're beautiful airplanes.
Yeah. Mackie, do a chingua 205.
And what was it called again?
It's a Mackie.
B-A-C-H-H-I.
Well, that's Italian for 205.
Oh.
Dua, 200, chingua, 5.
It was I think it's a real pretty airplane, as I recall.
Well, no, it was active.
No, I mean, it's a beautiful airplane to look at.
Oh, beautiful, you said. Oh, yeah, it was damn beautiful airplane. Beautiful airplane. I think it may have been better than Messerschmitt.
Really?
I think so.
So you trained in the P-39, and how long was the training in the P-39?
2 months.
So did you fly you must have flown the AT-6.
I did.
And was that?
Oh yeah, we flew the Vibrator for 2 months, two T6 for 2 months.
And then where was your gunnery training?
So down at Florida.
Eglin?
Eglin.
Really?
Eglin sub base. You know, Eglin going out along had a lot of sub bases, and they would designate one of those. You go down and stay there and do all your gunnery.
So was it still your same 16 guys stayed together all the time?
We're just the same. At that time, when you got to T6, that was where they made the decision whether you're going to go twin. Because the other guys flew that AT-10, double twin-engine airplane. I flew the B-25 and things like that, and B-50 and all. I was with cold weather testing at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Phase 5 testing, they call it.
Oh, really?
And they tested everything for cold, either whether it be a major component, a weapon system, or the airplane itself.
Wow. Well, I want to stay sort of chronological here. So so you must have moved several times when you were in Italy. I mean, you flew out of different places.
Yeah, we moved several times. We were pretty good at Montecavino, but the other guys were moving around a bit.
So Montecavino was the name of the base?
Well, that was the base where the 301st was. And 301st was under the command of Rayford.
The story's been abbreviated. It sounds like, boom, they go to Ramitelli, they fly support missions, game, set, match, that's it. But obviously when I start reading about this and talking to you, it's a way more complicated story.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it.
Yes.
So so how many bases do you think you flew out of before you actually went to Ramitelli?
Just 2.
Just 2.
And then down. some of them were in more than that. Now the 99th seemed like they, wherever that fighter group that they were attached to went, that's where they went.
So the 99th Squadron
Was separate.
They were separate. Now why?
Well, because they had been sent over there, and they were functioning in a role already with the 79th and the 59th. I can get the organization for you if you really want them.
No,
and like I said, they were even at Foggia, which is right in the film.
Yeah, I kind of know where Foggia was. I talked to even though I'm trying to keep this chronological, I interviewed last year a fellow by the name of Rod Braswell, who was a B-24 pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he always, it was interesting because he always wanted to fly in the right seat. Because he wanted to be in command of the airplane and actually make the decisions and let the other guy be the guy that steers. And he made all the decisions for his crew and all that. And one of the missions I think it was in late 43, and it was one of the raids on Peenemünde. He was over there he flew 50 missions. He was there like 6 or 7 months. I think he flew out of Foggia, right there. And he said one of the missions they went on, it was a big, huge, 500 airplane mission.
Yeah.
And he said that the intercom system was wired wrong, so every time they talked on the intercom, they broadcast out into space.
Yes.
So he had to abort, and he turned around and came back. And when he was flying in to his base, a P-47 joined up on him, and it was a red tail airplane. And he said he heard this fellow with a definite black accent say, "Do you need any help?" And he said, "No, we're good." And he looked over and he could see it was an African American pilot, and he was surprised. He had no idea.
I don't see how he saw it.
What's that?
I don't see how he could tell.
Oh, he could tell because he heard his voice and then he could see him.
Now, okay,
He was
but
low.
seeing him, you couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell with the mask on and goggles and all that.
And a helmet.
Yeah.
you don't see much.
Well, he said he was surprised. He didn't know there was any black pilots flying. He was really surprised.
Yeah. The guy may have taken off or something. Yeah.
But he heard his voice. He said it was his voice.
Well, you could tell. So,
yeah.
Sure.
I thought that was an interesting story. But that was the first time I ever heard they flew P-47s.
Yeah, we flew for 1 month.
1 month. Well, how in the
world
month
of June.
How do you transition that fast?
When I went up, they just said, "You flying this airplane today, okay?" And I flew it. And then same thing with the P-51.
But you're going.
We flew the P-51 for the first time on 4th of July, 1944. And the guy says, "That's your airplane." And it was a B. And then 48, number 42 on it. And I flew it.
Well, I mean, when you go, you're flying a P-39. It's got the engine in the back.
Yes.
And the center of gravity had to be very strange to fly. Yeah. And then you switch to something like
that. Well, it wasn't too strange to fly because it was so close to the center of gravity.
But the P-47, it's got twice as much.
P-47 was different. Lots of things, because one of the things that they did when the guys were flying P-47s, the guy said, "You don't know when that tail's going to come up." So it puts that stick forward and the throttle, and of course we had the all-time turbo going, everything's going. And then he said, then when the tail comes up, you'll know it. It'll get it off as soon as it can. Got one guy in trouble because when he transferred to the P-51, he went full forward, that unlocked the tail wheel, he looped.
Oh.
Yeah, the P-51, you push the stick all the way forward, you unlock the tail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you were taxiing, you could...
Yeah. Sure. Oh, I never even thought about that. Wow. Huh.
But the P-47, what they wanted to do was to get it off the ground as soon as they could because they were heavy. and we used a lot of runway.
Were there brand new P-47s when you got them?
Some of them, not all of them. Some of them were. I know that the D-27 and the D-25.
What's that?
That's where they were. The D-25 they didn't have bubble.
Oh really? Oh, they had the Razorback. Yeah.
D-27. That's for 47.
Yeah. How'd you compare it to the P-39?
Oh, it was much better than the P-39, and I thought it had just about equal firepower because 850s.
Sure, that's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
What were the targets you attacked?
Ground targets. Our very first mission was a fighter suite.
How many airplanes in the fighter suite?
All of them that we had at that time, which was 3 squadrons.
What? Really? Like 72 airplanes?
Yeah.
20 squadrons of
And
24.
we went up there, yeah, looking for targets of opportunity in northern Italy.
Did you?
And my first mission, I would sit there, and it's so, boy, it was such a beautiful day. I looked at it all beautiful. And I looked back like this. What the hell are those black clouds coming up here? Where'd they come from? Then all of a sudden, ding, there's somebody shooting at you. But, the leader that day, named Rayford, the same guy, he got hit, took almost the whole #1 cylinder off, and hit him in the leg. He was bleeding. What happened? And he flew that airplane home.
Well, that's what they did with P-47s.
If it had been any other airplane, he would have been down because the minute you get a hold of that in that coolant, Rayford flew the thing all the way to almost to the length of Adriatic.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But he was
and smoke.
Well, and then a guy
and he had been hit.
a fellow named Robert Brown flew one back from Germany, and he got shot up pretty bad. And he said a Focke-Wulf 190 pulled back of him and pretty much emptied his guns. And finally, the Focke-Wulf 190 guy comes up and goes, salutes and says, "See you later," just because he gave up. He couldn't get back.
Sure.
He had 275 holes in the airplane when he got.
Oh no. Well, another one of those things too. That if you got hit in such a way that your hydraulic system wasn't balanced anymore,
Yeah.
then you had problems.
Did you ever get hit?
Huh? Never got hit, but saw them coming.
Really?
Yeah. But anytime you on ground force, when it looked like and it looked like it's gonna go in front, now you gotta duck it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to. If it looks like it's going to hit you, don't worry. You only be there when it gets there. So you learn that fast, but those things look like yellow balls.
Yeah. Did you normally fly in 4-ship?
We flew 4-ship formation and flew a squadron the same way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then when you get into combat, then you sort of break up.
Then the elements.
Into elements, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then so the second guy, your wingman's just going to absorb the bullets for you.
Or
right?
if you're the wingman.
Yeah, I never want to be the wingman. So it says here, I was reading it said that there was a total of 996 pilots.
That's right. That's good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
16,000 ground crew.
A lot of ground crew. You know yourself. It takes a hell of a lot of people to get one airplane to you.
Well, I was surprised there was so many pilots. I mean, 996, that's a lot.
996 is a lot, but only 300 and plus went over.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
The others are all twin engine guys who training to go.
Well, when the guys and of the 300 or so that went over, how many survived and made it back?
Well, right now, of what they call red tail pilots. Red tail pilots mean that they did
Sure.
go okay. There are only 23 left.
Wow.
We lost 5 of them almost here during Christmas holiday.
Oh wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
When did they paint the red tails? When was that?
Well, that is a good question. When the 15th Air Force was formed, and they came up with divided command, they had 4 P-51 groups over there, and all of them, so that the pilots on the planes would know which group was covering them. They gave them all a color.
Oh, I see.
So ours was red, the 52nd was yellow, and the 31st was striped, and the 325th was a checkerboard.
Oh wow. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Wow.
So now they don't have to use radio or anything. You know, that's the group that's supposed to cover us.
How much radio chatter was there in flight usually?
Sometimes a lot, sometimes not much. Okay, and hear some funny things. You know, a guy in a P-38, boy, he was raising hell. He's wanted to help, he wants to get home. He says, I've only got one engine. And some guy in a P-51 calls back, what the hell are you hollering about? I only had one when I left home. and we escorted the British. Yeah, we escorted Mosquitos on the...
Wow, really?
Yeah.
How'd you keep up?
How'd they keep up?
No, come on.
How'd they keep up? That's what I'm going to tell you. When you fly the mission, normally what you do is you let him hold the spot between the wingman and the leader. We follow him, but he's flying in that slot. No guns, none but cameras.
So it was a photo-recon.
Yeah, photo. That's why we escort him, because he's no guns in there. They get up there. He said, I'm going to make my run. Yeah, okay, bet. We let him go. He makes his run. We follow him, get on the other side, get him back again. And so when we come home, as soon as we get to, he knows he's in safe care. There's British guys who say, so long, Yanks. We stay right with him.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, we was going fast as he was.
No kidding.
And we stay right with him. So then when we get to the point where you have to start a let down, we tell him so long, because we knew he was redlining so much lower now with that wood there.
So,
see, because we were redlining like going 560.
what?
Yeah.
In a dive?
Yeah.
Slight dive.
I think we were redlined.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't exceed that.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know they go that fast.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so on the P-47, all you did...
I said 560.
You meant 460.
460.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that did sound kind of high.
Yeah.
So when you flew the P-47, did you do escort missions with the P-47?
We did something. Our second mission that we had was an escort mission.
Where was it going?
To northern Italy. They couldn't go much further because the P-47 didn't have any range. That was one of the big things. They'd gobbled up that fuel like nothing.
Yeah.
So 4 hours.
But I understand they could really fly the thing at very high altitude. You could get it over 40,000 feet, I understand.
You could get up high. I had it up over 40,000 just flying.
Yeah.
And I just said, how high will this damn thing go?
So how many missions did you fly with the P-47 as an escort?
The organization flew something like 16 missions.
Not that many.
And 1-1. But we didn't fly escort on all those missions. A lot of them were what you call it, sort of fighter sweeps.
Right. Was that the most fun?
Yeah. There's a case of where you're looking for something, but the Germans just were not very active except at the target.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't. You didn't see a lot of them flying around trying to keep you from getting there. But what they would do is if they had any indication of what was the initial point, when the bombers get to the initial point and take over and start that bomb run, you can't change. You got to go same speed, same altitude. Otherwise, you're gonna screw up the aiming because it's all set up into the sight.
Right.
So here they go, right? And what Germans did was just had all these guns, like thousands of guns at these places like Ploesti, and they just put as many rounds as they could into that one space.
So did you escort some missions? Went to Ploesti?
Oh, 7 times.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Was that the B-24s or B-17s?
Both.
Really?
Yeah, B-24 or B-17.
Was there a difference between escorting B-17s and B-24s?
Yeah, B-17 generally like to bomb from higher than the B-24s.
Really?
The B-24s like to somewhere in the upper 20s, 27, 28.
Okay, now I want to get to one of the questions I wanted to ask. Okay, in that movie, when I was watching the movie, we were in Tucson when it came out, and I had to see it. And it showed the P-51s flying, in essence, right next to the B-17s.
No.
Thank you.
About 3,000, 2,000. We got up over them because they attacked from above.
Well, when they attacked...
The Germans used the 110 very, very effectively.
Right.
It could get a lot of altitude, and they just fly over the bombers and just throw anything out, chains,
what?
Use junk. Because if you hit it, it's the same thing. You run into.
So they were using the 110s to bomb bombers.
That's right.
What so?
And the others, when they attack down like this. They had one German, they gave him the name Whirlin Willie, because when he came down, he was doing the aileron rolls all the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he was having fun, wasn't he? Well, where did they attack from most of the time?
Where from?
From the front or from the back?
Oh, generally they used to try from the front until the G came along. It was the chin turret. Now that was dangerous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, before that, when they came head on, the only thing that guy had up there was this little 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then these G models, they put that chin on.
Yeah.
Now they decided the best way to come from straight above. That cuts out from the airplanes you're going at. That cuts out everything except the upper gun. The guys on the side, they can't get it flying around. And the guy in the nose, all these guns are...
Right.
And tail gunner, he can't get it, but so elevation, so they come down this way.
So, okay, now let's...
So that's where we would hope to cut them off on the way when they come, boom, head for the space.
How many airplanes would attack it at the time?
Depends on a lot of things. Sometimes they would just individuals look like in maybe one squadron, and maybe not even that much.
Did you talk to the bombers?
We talked to them sometimes. Yeah, they usually did most of the talking because it was what they were going to do that we needed to know. You know, like. I'm sure someone's told you that when you have long missions, it's usually 3 phases. You escort from the time they enter an area where they could be under threat,
Right.
till they get to the initial point.
And then you.
And then another group would come in and then give them coverage, target cover. Then when they get to withdrawal point, still yet another group pick them up.
Well, but you didn't actually fly with them when they were in the target area because of the fact that
You didn't go through. No, the Germans didn't go through it either.
No, well, heck no. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was to whom it may concern.
Yeah. So what did you do when they were in the target area? Just get high or go wide? Or?
Well, wider generally, because we generally try to cut short ends, but and look for German fighters, see where they were, what they were planning.
Okay, so
if you can see them.
So okay, you pick up the P-51 in July of 44.
4th of July.
4th of July.
First
4th of
mission.
July.
First mission.
Okay, and then what was the first flight like in the P-51? Your first flight.
Well,
What was your first flight like in a P-51?
it was the first time I've flown that.
Well, what was it like
Nice.
compared to the P-47?
Yes. You got off the ground quicker. You did have to watch torque a lot more than you did the other.
Why?
It's just because it seemed to me that it wasn't torque that just started. It just jumped in all of a sudden. You'd be going and then whoop, you could feel it. But we trimmed it out most of the time. We were on setting.
6 degrees of
Yeah.
right rudder?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you a sad story. I want to hear your comment about this, okay? Last 4th of July, an acquaintance of mine had a P-51. He bought it because he wanted to learn how to fly. You can probably see where this is going. He bought a T-6 as well. He trained in a Citabria, flew the T-6, and with very little flying time, flew the P-51 with an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
They took off from Durango, which is about 6,000 feet in the air altitude, and right after takeoff, rolling down the runway, they got airborne, pulled the thing up, and went kaboom into the ground. Left roll, just the nose pitched, upside down into the ground, killed both of them. Runways are about 6,000 feet long, went off the end of the runway and came down about half a mile away from the end of the runway. So the question, of course, is, there's insurance coverage involved in all this sort of business, and the NTSA or NTSB just wants to call it pilot error. But for me, I look at it from the standpoint of something else must have went wrong. Because he had about 20 hours in the airplane. The other guy, who was an experienced flight instructor, not with a lot of P-51 time, but I can't see him getting 6,000 feet down the runway and then having the torque take over and flip him into the ground. It just doesn't make sense.
It depended on what they did. I'm not. In other words, if you pull the power back and then you shove it on again, you get it.
Oh, good point.
Because the airplane tries to roll the opposite direction from the propeller.
Right.
That's all that happens. Now, we had one fellow named Rhodes. He lived through it, but he had essentially the same thing happen to him. We landed close behind each other because we always tried to stay with him and do things until we felt we got the last edge of that few we can get. So he was coming down, and he wasn't sure where the guy was in front of him. He's pitched up like this. So he decided he's going to take a look. And when he lowered the nose to see, right, he said, oh, there he is. And he poured the coal to it and rolled on him. He couldn't do anything. He went in and inverted. And when when the people rushed out there to the accident and everything, and it was not a bubble canopy. And when they rushed out there to look for, they saw this guy sitting there. The guy said, "What happened to the pilot?" He said, "I'm the pilot." I said, "How'd you do?" He said, "I came out through that little sliding door."
Wow, wow.
They don't know how the hell he did it.
So now, Alex.
But the torque is in the airplane. It's the fact that it jumps in quick, not the fact that it's there.
Yeah, well, I was trying to help out my friend. My friend is going to be the executor of the estate. I mean, the guy was very wealthy, obviously, to own a P-51. And so I was trying to, what else could possibly go wrong? I was thinking a runaway propeller might do it. Because someone said the airplane sounded really strange when it went down the runway. So
pitch.
Yeah, it could have had to set the pitch.
That's it, yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
You could override the engine and blow it up, and.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, well, yeah. Normally when we use 62 inches, about takeoff, and the prop goes to the high. Going there.
Did you ever prop?
And then when you pull the throttle, when you pull the prop control back.
Well, did you ever have a prop run away with one?
I never had a prop run away with one. No, fortunately, I never had that. We used to have the tacks go out often.
Really?
And we couldn't see. But so what you do is you get behind a guy, and here's a set. You call him, talk to him, and then if the props look synced, then you could see it. They stop.
Wow.
Look like they both stand still.
Right.
Then you're okay.
What RPM would you typically fly at then? What RPM would you be flying at?
Oh, generally we flew it as low as we could, down, pull it back to about 22.
So now when you were escorting bombers, what were you were going, they were probably doing 210, 220, then you had to kind of go back and...
Yeah, we did, we zagged.
And how much? What speed? 275?
Well, I always, when I led, I always tried to do it at pretty high. And the reason is that I didn't want to have to make up some difference if the Germans attack. If you get up there and get going too slow, goddamn, you got to try to get it back before you get. I want to be moving that fast when he comes.
You want to keep your energy up.
Yes, keep the energy. Yes.
So, how many times did you actually engage enemy fighters?
I engaged enemy fighters like only about 7 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get shot? Did you shoot any down?
Yeah, I shot 2 down on one of our first missions, and when we got back, I didn't see either one of them hit the ground. Okay, but I saw the pilots come out.
That's a pretty good indication.
Yeah, but when I got back,
what kind of airplanes were they?
Me-109.
Okay.
And I had a Focke-Wulf go past right across in front of me, but he was so damn close that I damn near ran into him.
Yeah.
And he just kept going. I didn't bother following because the bombers were still sitting there, right there. I thought that's where he was headed, but he wasn't. That was right. And fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could have chased after him and probably caught him and done him in, but I don't know what the hell his friends were doing back behind.
Well, actually, when you actually shot down them, was it actually, how did it happen? Give me an example.
What's that?
Head-on combat and turn towards each other, or what?
Oh, yeah, that happens. when I ran into that jet, I thought I was catching him.
Really?
Yeah, because the silhouettes looked that way. You know, I said, "Damn, I got this son of a bitch. He doesn't even know I'm coming." You know, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I see these. I said, "God damn, he's shooting at me." You know, so I whipped down just a little bit low like this to try to get some doggone lead on him when he's coming, rather than trying to fire directly at him. And by that time we and I said, "Damn, that's a 262." You know, and he was when he fired, they fired a cannon, but it isn't like continuous. It's boom,
right.
boom, 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 and you know you see these things coming.
So, now where was it? Were you over?
But what I'm saying is I didn't even realize that I was meeting the damn guy head on.
Because it was so fast.
And I thought I was catching him.
Really? Wow.
And you know, the silhouette at that distance, look, I didn't realize that either. Just how damn far away we were. But we were closing like mad.
Well, the silhouette is different than would be on on the ME-109, which is real small. The 262 is kind of wide.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was that was their airplane was now. Even though early on, a lot of people thought that the Germans made a damn Focke-Wulf that had a inline engine in it.
Yeah, towards the end of the war they did.
Yeah,
didn't they? Yeah.
The guy thought that damn 51.
Well, by the time you were actually engaged in them, you're talking about the end of '44. Well, when did
I stayed till the end.
You stayed till the end. But by then you were the ops officer.
I was ops officer, but I flew.
You did. So how many missions did you fly altogether?
I flew 142 in the 15th.
I thought they sent people home at about 50 or 60 missions.
When you have replacements. We didn't have any replacements because they were sending all the pilots up for that bomber group.
They were sending up, say.
They were forming that bomber group that was supposed to go to the Pacific, and they were trying to get enough people into it, so consequently there were very few pilots identified to go for fighters.
So how many Tuskegees were left when the war ended? When the war ended in May of '45.
Oh yeah, we had just as we were getting ready to leave, we were reduced to 2 squadrons.
Yeah, well, I saw that one squadron, they closed one squadron down.
302nd was gone.
Why?
And
just too many, not enough pilots?
Just they took the pilots from. My brother-in-law was in the 302nd, and then he would move to the 301st.
Back to radios again. So when you were escorting the bombers, you only had one radio, right?
We had a radio with 4 channels.
So
we had an emergency channel, and we had 1 channel for just us, and then we had the other one for the outside.
So when you actually were escorting the bombers, though, you would only would just lead talk to them, and then you go back to your own.
Generally, that's what we would do.
And you flew in flights of 4. So would your flight just be on one channel, or would everybody be on the same?
The leader always wrapped through his. Yeah.
So, but I mean,
because he's the one that would change. But that's why that color on the tail, that cut down. Were they on time? They know when they expected it. We know when they expected it. And they know where they expected it.
And some of the squadrons requested the red tails.
I'm sorry.
Some squadrons, some of the bomber groups requested the red tails.
It may have.
Okay.
They say they did, you know, because we didn't leave them.
Yeah.
Stay with them. As long as you're with them, they feel comfortable.
Now, the time that you went after the 2 Messerschmitts, though, did you was there an altitude base that you couldn't go below or anything?
When at that time it was a ground target. It was what we were after. We were after the Germans were on the road from Greece back up toward the center, and we were supposed to strafe these.
So in other words, when you were actually engaged some ME-109s, you weren't on an escort mission.
I was not on an escort mission.
Oh, okay, great.
No, I was on a strafing mission.
Okay, now the one thing we talked about before I turned the camera on was that Bud Anderson said that the war changed in, I think it was October, November of '43, when General Doolittle took over for Acre, and Acre went to the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And Doolittle saw a sign at one of the squadrons that said that the job of the fighters is to protect the bombers, and he said, take that sign down. The job of the fighters is to kill the Luftwaffe and to go after them right down to the ground if you have to. And so after
we strafed stations where they were ground. That's another tough thing to do too, because they used to string piano wire.
Oh wow!
You better keep your eyes open, try to see.
Yeah. Well,
and they also had what they call flak towers. Look like a lighthouse, but up at the top of it.
Right.
So you couldn't get so low that the guy could shoot at you.
Well, Bud Anderson said that what they did was, if the Germans came up, you know, they wouldn't. He said we had an 18,000-foot ceiling, meaning you couldn't go below it. But he said after Doolittle said,
go after them.
Go after them.
Right.
And you guys did that too, then?
Well, no, because Davis had other instructions.
Okay, so Akers...
Don't leave. That's what he left. Now, when he came back from Washington, that's what they did. I guess whoever the hell was the head of ops back there, he said, God damn it, I'm losing bombers too fast. That's what he told him.
So you were...
And they were, you know, that on raids to Ploesti, that they were losing as many as 90%.
What?
90%.
I thought it was like 30 or 40, which I thought was...
90%. They went in there low.
That was the first raid when they hit...
Yeah, they lost 90%.
Yeah, when they flew out of Africa, yeah.
Yeah, they came out of Africa.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Benghazi.
That's where they launched from.
Yeah.
And they stayed low.
Well, they made a big mistake. The leader turned too early and got off course, and it warned the Germans, and so they didn't hit it the way they were supposed to.
Yes, that's all true too.
It was led by someone named Kane, Killer Kane, they called him. He was the leader of the pack. And
you know, we had a problem like that with a 360 one time because of weather. Bad. And the guy, when he called for the turn, he called for making a left turn, and he went right.
Oh boy.
And next thing you know, in all this weather, and you're meeting your own guys, you know.
So this is when you were escorting over Germany someplace?
Yeah, he was not sure of where we were as far as the Alps were concerned, so he wanted to make a climbing turn to try to get some more altitude before going on the chord. So
would you have any idea when that was?
Hmm?
When was that? You remember? About
I know it's the same time that Wellington Irving died. And that was like December 45. December 44.
December 44. Now, when the war started to wind down, I mean, the Germans surrendered. I think it was May the 8th.
Yes.
Wasn't it May 8th?
Yeah.
And what was the war winding down? Were the raids slowing down at all?
Well, what they did then was can we trust what was been told that the war is over? They were busy having people go, because some of the organizations may not have stopped, as well as, you say, okay, the war's over. Everybody put your gun down and quit. Some guys still going, especially undergrounds.
Did you ever get down to low altitude flying over Germany? Would you always really at high altitude over Germany, or did you ever get down low?
Yeah, we did. We attacked those airfields.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very low.
What's the longest you ever flew in a P-51?
Well, almost 8 hours.
Really? All the way to Berlin?
Yeah, Berlin.
And you were escorting?
Escorting bombers, right?
So, okay, now I'm trying to visualize this, what's it look like. So, you take off from your base.
Yeah.
You meet the bombers coming out of wherever.
Wherever they tell you to go, wherever you pick them up. Like I told you that generally the first time we pick them up on an ordinary mission, it's when they first penetrate those countries, those landings where the Germans might indeed be up and after them, like somewhere early, because the earlier they can get them, the better off they are.
Yeah.
They know that. So, and we would escort them from that point to we got to the initial point.
So now
and then generally we gave them up. If it was a real short mission, you would go carry them further than that, and they'd only use 2 groups to cover. One to bring them in, one to bring them out.
So if you had the formations of bombers, I don't remember what they're called, but there were about 20 in a group, weren't there, or 25 or something like that?
Oh no, they generally speaking, they flew a box.
You're right.
Okay, and
it was like groups of 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but now you could look up ahead. You can see 150 miles ahead. Would it just be like a stream of bombers, and what did it look like to you?
It was just like what you just said. You see this long string. The bombers, the thing they hated the worst were contrails.
Right.
Because they knew, the German meteorologists knew exactly what altitude that thing was forming.
Right.
And that set those guns.
So as soon as they started call contrails, and they'd start.
They hated that. Well, yeah, they would try to look for, really and truly, I'm sure, an altitude where the contrails didn't occur.
Did you ever see any of the situations where the Germans had a B-24 or a B-17 to get out and fly next? Did you ever see that?
I used to think I had a flight where I worried about that, because this guy, one B-24, and he's flying, and he had 2 engines out, smoke anyway from 2 engines. So when you get close to one of those things, airplanes, regardless of whether you markings or whatever, the right thing to do is to come in to him sideways, get up even with him, and come this way. Because if you point,
they're going to shoot you.
He shoot you.
Right.
Yeah, they go shoot at anything that points, because they don't know that what's happened. And especially here I was by myself, because I left the flight. I said I'm going over to check this B-24. I could see him off in the distance of smoke like that. The guy, somebody said, it might be smoke from a jet. Not that much smoke. But anyway, I got over there, and I stayed with them until they got to the border. But I was very conscious of the fact that they might be manned by bad guys who were waiting till I get to the point of no return, and because of fuel, and then they'll shoot and run.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. We were on a mission to protect a C-47. We did do that, take a C-47, and what he was doing was trying to recover one of our bomb sites that was down there, and the underground supposedly didn't touch anything, but they were trying to keep the Germans away from it until we got some people landed who would get it, take it, and bring the thing out. So
where was that?
In Yugoslavia. So I led a flight that was supposed to protect the C-47. Just one flight. And we went down with it. So I had two of the guys stay at the altitude while I went down so I could see the ground better. And as I got down low, all of a sudden, this big black airplane was flying by. And, and I didn't know what it was, and I started toward it. And when I started toward it, all of a sudden, I saw this stream. And I thought he was shooting it at first, but it was paper. And it turned out it was the Russians. And they didn't tell us, they didn't tell our intelligence people they were going to do anything. And they were throwing out these pamphlets, leaflets.
Really?
Of things. Yeah, and the airplane was all black. But we got our guy on the ground, they got the stuff and got the hell out of there. Yeah, and they said, had to be Soviet.
Yeah, and the Germans had the Norden bomb sight back in 1938. They had one a long time before.
Yeah.
They knew all about it.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it.
Sure they did.
So Roscoe Brown said he shot down a ME-262.
Yeah, he said it. Okay.
Now, was he in the 99 Squadron?
He was in the 100th.
The 100th. So were you with him on that flight by any chance?
I was on the flight.
Did you see any 262s that day?
I saw them. But when I saw them, they were all high speed and going through the formation as quickly as possible.
And they came through, and did they?
They kept going.
Well, do you think they would split us?
They never came back. Not the same guy.
Well, they didn't have much gas.
No. And what they were doing is they were using the Autobahn. They just land anywhere they want to in Autobahn. And the Germans had regular aircraft, BD-0121s, down to try to protect them while they were getting on the ground.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. An ME-262 pilot that lives in San Diego, and I interviewed him 2 or 3 years ago. He was only in it for a very short period of time, but he talked about attacking a P-47 flight. And he said when he rolled in and the guns jammed, and so he just pulled up and went to the moon and waited for him to leave so he could go back and land, It was interesting interview.
Yeah, well, that thing could get up there. Of course, you don't hear much about it, but the 163, and the reason you didn't hear a lot about it is because I understand the Germans had one hell of a lot of problems getting the guys to get into the air, the damn thing.
They'd blow up.
It was a rocket.
Yeah, it was a blow up on the ground.
Yeah, man, and the landing gear stayed on the ground and he took off.
Right. Did you ever see one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's 163. It look almost like a 102, but smaller.
Yeah. So where did you see the 163s? Where did you see them?
In Germany, up in the Alps, in the area up around Munich.
So, and those probably came in from very high altitude, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they did with them. All I know is the guy says that they can go from ground to 30,000 in less than a minute.
Yeah. Oh, they only had about 60 seconds worth of fuel.
Yeah, that's what was wrong.
Yeah, they would go up and they'd come back down and fire their gun.
And you could glide fast.
Yeah. A very, very dangerous airplane.
Very dangerous. they could have lost a lot of people.
Now,
They landed on skids.
yeah. Okay, the war ends in Germany. How did you get home?
I'm sorry.
How did you get back to the States?
With the group. The group came home.
On a ship?
Yeah.
Okay, and where you landed in New York?
We landed in Virginia.
Where did you go after that?
New York, that's where I lived.
Oh, okay. Okay. But
That's
then,
where my mother lived.
oh, so
I got home, my mother was putting a welcome home sign in the window. I asked her if I could help her.
so when did you actually get home? Do you remember?
Seems to me it was October.
Oh, that long. Oh, so after Ramitelli, where did you go? Did you stay there the whole time?
No. We left Ramitelli and went to Catalica. And we stayed at Catalica. And then we came back. We spent about another month in a base that name slips me for the moment, but it had been a bomber base. And it was in the Fogier area, and we stayed there. Okay, and we were starting to get the airplanes. We only had a few airplanes left at that time. One of them was the B-25, which we used for administrative purposes. I flew it around a lot. Yeah.
So what did they do with the airplanes? Did they leave them there?
No, they take the airplanes and return them in at some depot.
It's so sad.
Who knows? I know that when I returned those P-47s in, the guys would rush out and break them up.
Yeah, it's sad what they did with them.
Yeah.
Okay, in our museum, we have a P-51, and it has Roscoe Brown's name on it.
Oh, good.
And it has, I guess it's his girlfriend, Bunny.
That's me. Bunny is mine.
Really? I think it's his.
I know people always say things, but I did not disrespect the Germans.
Yeah.
Because the Luftwaffe especially, because we had people who had run in with the other people and they'd never made it. The SS guys, when we had one fellow Macon passed away now, and when we were attacking southern France, same mission where all these guys went down, him, Jefferson, and Macon. And Mason was from Alabama, I think, yeah. And he broke his neck when he came out of the airplane. And so he's laying on the ground. So the SS is coming along, bam, they're shooting everybody. There's moves. And of course he was out, unconscious. Then when the Luftwaffe came along, they took him, put him in the hospital, and after recovery, still had a big protrusion on his neck, but they put him in his same prison camp that Jefferson did. In fact, Jefferson's book has a list of all the people that were there with him at the same camp. And he took that the Luftwaffe treated him real well. And there are instances where German pilots have allowed busted up airplanes to go.
Right, yeah. No, I know Jefferson. I saw him in that movie. I was just watching it last night, and he said he was treated well. And I have there's another pilot who lives in San Diego. He's a P-38 pilot. His name is he lives in Coronado, and he got shot down in Sicily, and he was a guest of the Germans for 2.5 years. And he said they treated him just fine.
That's right.
He said he thinks there was a deal between the Americans and the British and the Luftwaffe to take care of the aviators. So.
Well, they really did. I tell you, a lady said to me, and she's German lady, she said, "I'm so glad you all did it because we couldn't." She's talking about getting hit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Wow. What a statement.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I gotta, I don't think we, I gotta ask you about Project Blue Book.
Okay.